friends. So before we even start this video, I just have to let you know that Joey is on my table, and if you hear noise, it's because of that. He doesn't want to stay on the floor. He ends up crying, so he's gonna be here with me. I'm just gonna share with you guys some of the books I finished during the month of June. I went through 7 books, and they're all like different genres, so I'm just gonna share them with you guys. The first book that I finished during the month of June is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This is a young adult book. I started reading this book mid-May, and then I just finished it early June. It's a 250-page book, but it just felt very slow-paced, and I wasn't hooked by it until the last 50 pages. This book follows a girl named Candace, and she gets into an accident that she doesn't remember what that accident is, and none of the people around her are telling her what happened to her when she asks, because her mom has said that as for her doctor's orders, she needs to eventually remember on her own if she wants to get that memory back, instead of asking people around her every single day. And yeah, I rated this book 3 stars. It's okay. It's not like it's not a page turner. It's an okay book. The next book that I read, it's an ebook. I read Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. Lee, yeah, I think that's how you pronounce her name, Leigh Bardugo. And I can honestly say it's so much better than Shadow and Bone. I know it's a sequel, but it's so much better. If you know the Grisha verse and all that, you probably read this book, but we follow Alina, and compared to Shadow and Bone, I just prefer her character in Siege and Storm better, because she just feels more powerful, she feels more in charge, and she takes more control of what she wants, and she really speaks out on like, this is what I want, this is how we're gonna do it, regardless of if that's tradition. It doesn't matter, it's not good tradition, so we're gonna change that. That's something you can also apply to real life setting. Just because it's tradition and you've done it for years and years, if it's wrong, maybe it's time to, nip it in the bud, try to stop it. And I liked her character so much more, and it's obviously in the first book she's the main character, so her presence is really felt, but she just feels different in a good way in Siege and Storm, and I really liked that. After Siege and Storm, I read The Last Days of Jack Sparks by Jason Arnott. I borrowed this book because it was recommended to me by my friend, and she said it's really good. So I read it, and this is supposed to be a horror book, but personally I didn't find it that scary. I read most of this at night after to end my day, and I found it more funny than scary. Though I really, really hate the main character. Like, he is such a prick. Like, I don't know, the way Jason Arnott wrote the character, it made it so easy to hate him and dislike him, and just sometimes the bad things that sort of happened to him, I'm just like, you kind of deserved it though, because you're such a dick. And it's a really good book. I rated it 4 stars. I would recommend, but with it being horror, it's not that scary. There were some deaths that happened in the book that are pretty gruesome how they died, but I kind of enjoyed it. It wasn't that they do describe some of the scenes of the death, and It's not that bad. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I don't think it's that bad. I feel like it's really tolerable. I think you guys should try to read it if you're into horror or thriller books. Would you consider this thriller? Maybe yeah. But towards the end it was like a weird like, whoa, is this like magical or whatever, or is this some sort of time travel? But actually don't know until now, but you can read it and see for yourself. I really recommend it. I gave it 4 stars. I enjoyed it. It's a fun read. I also recommend reading it at night because honestly it's not that scary. It's a really good way to end your night. The next book that I read after Jack Sparks is Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. Now this book, I bought this when it first came out and I read it until chapter 16, I believe, and this book this is a very thick book. This is like 600 plus pages. Yeah, this is 600 plus pages, and when I first read it, I couldn't stand Edward. Like, I found him so creepy. I found him very annoying, and it's not the Edward that I enjoyed reading when I was in high school during the Twilight books, because he was okay. I wasn't Team Edward, but he was okay in the original books. But in Midnight Sun, he was creepy, and it's just like for 16 chapters he couldn't make up his mind. Does he want to stay with Bella? Does he want to leave Bella? Is he gonna kill Bella or whatever? It took 16 pages and that's the only thing that happened, which was why I stopped reading it. But this month I was like, you know what? I paid 900 pesos for this. I'm gonna make up for it. I'm gonna finish the book and see what my thoughts are. Maybe it gets better towards the end. Well, let me break it to you. It did not get better until the end. Honestly, I feel like if you've read the Twilight books, there's no need to read this. You don't get any new information. Yeah, you get it from Edward's perspective, but basically it's the exact same thing, except Edward feels creepier. So, I feel like you can skip this out. Even if you're a big Twilight fan, you're not gonna get anything new. Just read some other vampire book. After Midnight Sun, I wanted to read a book that's a little bit lighter, something that doesn't reach 500 to 600 pages. So I decided to read A Year of Rest and Relaxation by Atessa Moshfegh. Atessa Moshfegh. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce her name. But yeah, I started reading that book, and my initial thoughts were the main character, she's such a mood. Like, her vibe is just, yes, I was for it. But then as I kept reading, I realized that this book, if it was summed up into like one word, it would be privileged. The main character, the one narrating the whole book, basically she has a good life. She has all her bills paid for. She graduated from a very good school, and she works in a prestigious art gallery. And one day she just decides, I'm gonna quit. I'm just not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna chill. And I think she decided to work on her mental health. I think she suffers from, if I'm not mistaken, depression. They don't outright. I don't think they outright said that that's what she has, but she does in the book go to therapy, and she has prescribed medication, which eventually she just starts going ham on the pill. She just starts popping pills left and right, which was affecting her memory / the way she acts. Like, she was prescribed to try this specific medicine, which when she takes, she kind of blacks out, and then she does things that she does not remember at all when she wakes up the next day. And this girl she has a lot of issues, and the way she dealt with these specific issues were just to keep taking medicine for it. And it wasn't like in a good way. It was very not good. I don't know how to explain it, but to be able to just take a year or more off of work of or just like life in general to be able to work on your mental health is something that I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to be able to do. However, it's just a luxury that not everyone can have. I mean, personally, I would love to just oh no, my dog. I would just love to have like a year off of work, off of like life, and to just like work on mental health. But it's just not feasible. It's not just something you can just do. And she got to do that, but like I feel like she just really wasted it. She really didn't work on her mental health, or she thinks she is, but she's just really not doing anything for it. So yeah, I don't really like this book, but I don't hate it. But I don't like it either. I gave it like 3 stars. Um, you can read it for yourself, but there are trigger warnings for this book, like drugs and sex and toxic relationships. My next read was The Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. I read this book in a night, and it's. Do you like it, Joey? If you saw my last book haul, I recently just got this book, and the selling point for me is that it was pink, and so I read it. And the story of this book is about this girl who she has a hard time functioning in life, like how to act normally. She struggles with it. She just like it's not something that comes easily for her. And one day she comes across this convenience store that was just about to open, and she decides, I'm gonna apply for that convenience store. And there they teach you your do's and don'ts and how you should act when you meet clients and when people enter the store, how you work the cashier. And she found that in the convenience store she's told what to do and how to act, which helps her kind of act even outside of the grocery store. I mean, outside of the convenience store. So basically, this whole book just follows her 18 years of working in that specific store and how it just became a part of her and how it helped her sort of function through life. Honestly, when people ask me what the book is about, it's literally just about a girl who works in a convenience store. That's the main gist of it. And it's a very short read. It's like 100 plus pages, and I highly recommend it. It's an easy read, and it's fun. It's actually really fun. Besides, like, it's cute. I know, like, look at it. It's really cute. You should just try. It's pretty. Next book that I read, I actually put up a poll up on my Instagram, my book Instagram, of what book to read next. If I should read another mystery book or if I should read this non-fiction book. And then this one won, which is Tuesdays with Maury. And I did not expect to like this book so much. Like, I've heard good things about it. It's a very popular book, but I did not expect to like it so much, since it's not really a genre that I would go for or a type of book that I would read on like a whim. But it's really good. Basically, it's just a bunch of life lessons wrapped up in 160 pages. Tuesdays with Maury follows this guy who has a professor, and they basically created a bond throughout the college life of the student. And as the student, like, they graduated eventually and he moves on with his life, he finds out that particular professor was diagnosed with a terminal illness and decides to visit the professor, who is Maury. That's why Tuesdays with Maury. And every Tuesday he visits him, and they just talk about different aspects of life, like forgiveness, death, and all that. And it just makes you have a different outlook on life. And it yes, you like the book too, right? But yeah, it's a book that I would highly recommend. If you're just starting out reading, I would also recommend this because it's a pretty short book. I read this in 2 days, but I'm pretty sure if you power through, you can read that in a day. And yeah, so that's all the books all 7 books that I read for the month of June. Do you have anything to say? Did you read anything? No? Okay, so yeah, that's it. I have no... Do you have an outro? Do you have anything to say to them? No? Okay. Bye.